May kinalaman po ba ang mga mayors? May kinalaman po ba ang mga congressman? May kinalaman po ba ang mga senador? At may kinalaman po ba ang mga datit kasalukuyang mga namumuno sa ating bansa? Sapagkat dito po natin nakita ang koneksyon ng pag-ikot ng pera ng involved sa Pogo at ganoon din po sa drug syndicate. Testimonies of many personalities like Attorney Harry Roque, si Mayor Jing Capili, si Mr. Dennis Cunanan, Julian Linsangan.
Speech last August 5 to warrant a holistic and comprehensive submission of a report of the plenary. A unified investigation will strengthen on trust. Consolidating resources will give us faster results, which more than ever is critical as we are racing against time. A protracted investigation is utterly unacceptable because the stakes are too high and too precious to lose. Through our collective efforts and iron-willed resolve, we can finally put an end to this menace. Magsisilbi itong makabuluhang legacy para sa ating lahat na bahagi ng 19th Congress. This will also be our major contribution in the current administration hopes for a bagong Pilipinas. On that note, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Dakal pong salamat.
Thank you very much, Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Dong Gonzales Jr. Before we acknowledge the next speaker, may we acknowledge the presence of Congressman Siriaco Gato, the Chairman of the Committee on Health, Congressman Bambi Emano of the 1st District of Misamis Oriental, and Representative Franz Castro of the ACT Teachers Party List. Thank you. Now we proceed with Congressman Dan Fernandez. You are now recognized.
Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. Mahaba po to. 8 pages plus 21 pages. So 29 pages po to. Pero yung 21 pages po, issuing to the different members, ito po yung mga summary of issues raised during the hearings nung joint committee hearings that were conducted with Committee on Games and Amusement. Correct. Yung po mga testimonies, mga resource persons and witnesses, we will be giving it to all the members for their perusal para makita po nila yung naging tema nung amin pong hearing, nung nakaraang 4 na hearings. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. On behalf of the members of the Committee on Public Order and Safety, kinagagalak po namin at kami ay nagpapasalamat sa pamunuan ng Kongreso na kami ay bahagi ng malawakang investigasyon sa committee. Hanggang sa unti-unti nating natuklasan ang pagkakakonekta at kaugnayan ng mga key personalities sa bawat aspeto ng ating pagsisiyasat. The Committee on Public Order and Safety is mandated to look into all matters directly and principally relating to the suppression of criminality, including those on illegal gambling, private armies, terrorism, organized crime, and illegal drugs. As a matter of fact, the committee has been holding a series of hearings into the illegal buy-bust operations being conducted by unscrupulous members of drug enforcement units of the Philippine National Police. On July 5, 2024, the Speaker ordered a comprehensive congressional investigation into the criminal activities linked to Pogos. He declared that the move will underscore the government's commitment to curbing illegal activities and ensure that existing regulations are effectively enforced. He further stated that it is imperative to identify and unmask the masterminds and protectors behind the illegal Pogo operation so that they can be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Pursuant to the directive of the Speaker, the Committees on Public Order and Safety and Games and Amusements commenced the joint motu proprio inquiry in aid of legislation into the proliferation of criminal activities and unlawful acts linked to Pogos, with the end in view of recommending corrective actions. The congressional investigation shall further result in recommendation for the enactment of a legislative measures against the resurgence of Pogos. The Committees on Public Order and Safety and Games and Amusement conducted 4 meetings with the initial hearing held on July 17, 2024 and succeeding hearings on July 23, 31, and August 7, 2024. On August 5, 2024, the committee chairpersons, together with the Speaker, the Senior Deputy Speaker, and fellow legislators also conducted an ocular inspection of Sun U1 Technology Incorporated, which is situated in the Baupo compound in Bamban, Tarlac, and Lucky South 99, which is located in the multi-hectare Royal Thai Court property in Porac, Pampanga. These POGO hubs have been shuttered following joint law enforcement operations conducted early this year. During our initial hearing, we found out that among the crimes associated to POGOs are murder and homicide, human trafficking, torture, prostitution, forcible abduction, kidnap for ransom, robbery, extortion, drug trafficking, cybercrime, money laundering, and tax evasion. The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission presented a video on the extent of these heinous criminal activities linked to POGOs. Kung gusto niyo po makakuha ng mga videos, meron po tayo. Ibibigay po natin sa lahat ng mga members and even the torture victims for you to comprehend the gravity of the situation. The PAOK also presented a timeline of events in Bamban, Tarlac, highlighting the role of former Mayor Alice Lialgo in facilitating the establishment of POGO operation in that area. Also presented was evidence of alleged involvement of individuals like Xiyang Wang and Bernard Chua in the POGO operations. The committees also heard the testimony of Mr. Dilan, a victim of human trafficking. Meron din po tayong video ibibigay sa ating mga members. The committee also discussed so many related matters that include ang jurisdiction ng PAGCOR. Ano ba ang jurisdiction nila? Sa issuance ng executive orders and regulation covering offshore gaming from 2016 up to present. Ano ang mga responsibilidad ng ating pong mga LGUs? May kinalaman po ba ang mga mayors? May kinalaman po ba ang mga congressman? May kinalaman po ba ang mga senador? At may kinalaman po ba ang mga dating at kasalukuyang mga namumuno sa ating bansa? The crucial mission ng Bureau of Immigration is also at stake. The responsibility of the National Telecommunication Commission, the DTI, the DICT, at ating mga telcos companies in exposing the fraud committed by illegal POGOs in preventing the misuse of SIM card registration and distribution and in providing valuable data on internet usage. Importante din po yung AMLAC. Sapagkat dito po natin nakita ang koneksyon ng pag-ikot ng pera ng involved sa BOGO at ganoon din po sa drug syndicate. Further, based on the testimonies of the administrators of the Cagayan Economic Zone, pati na po yung sa APAB, pati na yung sa Aurora, the committees found out that POGO do not operate in these areas. During the succeeding hearings, the committees heard the testimonies of many personalities like Attorney Harry Roque, si Mayor Jing Capili, si Mr. Dennis Cunanan, Julian Linsangan, and among others, at marami pang iba. These all personalities that I mentioned, you can get the copy of all this report that we have submitted to all the members. The committees also heard the statement of our esteemed Presidential Legal Counsel Secretary and former Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, as well as former PAGCOR Chairperson Andrea Domingo, into the proliferation of POGO operation. They noted that POGO operation were not prevalent before 2016. Bago po ang 2016, wala po masyadong POGO. But the situation changed after the issuance of Executive Order number 13 in 2017, which mandated the regulation of POGO operations. Mahaba pa po ito. Wala lang po talaga mga kasama. Ayan, nagpapasalamat na po ang aking mga kasamahan. At yung matrix naman po that we created, we have the copy of the matrix about the investigation that was conducted by the poor chairman, and then we collated in one matrix. And so we will be giving that to all the members as well. Our investigation naman covered preliminary findings linking POGO operation to drug trafficking and money laundering. The matrix highlights the interconnectedness of various individuals and corporations, demonstrating how seemingly unrelated entities are connected through shared incorporators, business ventures, and financial transaction. As I have repeatedly stated, we need to ferret out the truth and identify the perpetrators of these illegal activities and hold them accountable for the crimes they committed and ensure that the victims of these crimes obtain true justice. My dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to end by reiterating this quote. Ginamit na po ni SDS kanina yung quote ni Edmund Burke. Yun din po ang gagamitin ko. Wala na ako magagawa. Ginamit na niya. Ang sabi ni SDS, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Di ba? Tatagulugin ko na lang po. Para magtagumpay ang masasama, dapat walang gawin ang mabubuti. Kaya kung mabubuti po kayo, kumilos tayo. At kung masama kayo, huwag kayong kumilos. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you very much, Chairman Dan Fernandez of the Committee on Public Order and Safety. Before we proceed with the next speaker, please allow me to recognize Representative Micaela Swansing, Representative Chino Almario, Representative Zia Alonto Adyong, and Representative Khalid Dimaporo. Welcome to the joint committee hearing. The next speaker is the chairman of the Committee on Human Rights, Representative Bienvenido M. Abante Jr. You are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What do we make of sufferings of our people beyond what they can bear? Have we ever imagined in our lifetime the loss of lives of so many women, children, poor and underprivileged, some of whom had become victims of vices of drugs and wrongdoing? Many of them, perhaps all of them, who were violently shot at, were innocent until proven guilty by the courts of law. And yet, none of those thousands instantly killed during the war on drugs policy of the past administration were exacted with justice. Our Constitution declares, and I quote, "No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, nor shall any person be deprived the equal protection of the laws." But this constitutional provision was unceremoniously blotted out by the blood and tears of the victims of extrajudicial killings. From 7,640 who died in police operations to a total of recorded 20,322 deaths for the period of July 1, 2016 to November 27, 2017, or a daily average of 39.46 deaths. The death of one person is a tragedy. The deaths of thousands is an even greater tragedy. Isaiah 1:17 and Psalm 82 verse number 3 tell us, and I quote, "Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow, defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy." Today, the journey of ferreting the truth, seeking justice and healing of our people begins with this very important meeting. Good afternoon, honorable members and chairman of the Joint Committee on Dangerous Drugs, Public Order and Safety, and Public Accounts. The Committee on Human Rights has conducted 5 public hearings and 1 briefing on the alleged extrajudicial killings, or EJKs, committed during the implementation of the war on drugs policy under the administration of former President Rodrigo Duterte. In the agenda were House Resolution number 14, introduced by Representative Raul Daniel A. Manuel, in privileged speech of Representative Castro, delivered in the plenary on November 8, 2023. Pursuant to its mandate under the rules of the House, the Committee on Human Rights is cognizant that our inquiry in aid of legislation focuses on, and I quote, all matters directly and principally relating to the protection and enhancement of human rights, assistance to victims of human rights violations and their families, the prevention of violations of human rights, and the punishment of perpetrators of such violations. In the exercise of the constitutional powers of Congress to conduct inquiries in aid of legislation articulated in Section 21, Article 6 of the Constitution, the committee abides by the House Rules of Procedure governing inquiries in aid of legislation and have respected the rights of our witnesses of due process, interparliamentary courtesy, and legal processes required in the inquiry. Incumbent and former public officials from the Office of the President, the Philippine National Police, the Commission on Human Rights, the National Bureau of Investigation, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, the Department of Interior and Local Government, Office of the Solicitor General, and other relevant government offices were invited and heard during the hearings to shed light on pertinent issues in the inquiry. A total of 21 relatives of victims attended the hearings, together with the Rights Up for Life and for Rights advocates and legal counsels from the National Union of People's Lawyers and Center for International Law, and narrated the circumstances surrounding the deaths of their family members. The committee likewise issued invitations to the incumbent Senator, Honorable Ronald Bato de la Rosa, as well as the former President, Attorney Harry Roque, former presidential spokesperson, DOJ Secretary Gizmin Rimulya, and former Solicitor General, Attorney Jose Calida. However, the aforementioned personalities failed to appear before the committee. The committee has identified the following as the key issues to be resolved in our inquiry. Number one, whether human rights violations have been committed against civilians, particularly on women and children, during the implementation of the anti-illegal drugs campaign of the Duterte administration. Number two, whether the state's obligation to respect, protect, and fulfill human rights have been fully adhered in the course of the anti-illegal drugs campaign. And number three, whether domestic and international human rights laws, instruments, and governmental policies have been adequate and responsive to the promotion, protection, and fulfillment of human rights obligations. Thus, please allow the chairperson to discuss the issues and findings in seriatim. As preparatory on the statistical data on the extrajudicial killings, the committee had been presented with multiple reports indicating that there had been massive nationwide drug-related killings within the period July 2016 to June 2022. The killings were classified to have been implemented by police operations, unknown perpetrators, similar to Sinaloa type of killings, which were notorious in Latin America drug cartel. The 2017 year-end accomplishment report of the Duterte administration highlighted as key accomplishments the deaths of 3,967 drug personalities and 16,355 homicide cases under investigation as of 30 September 2017. In addition, the PNP reported that there was a total of 7,640 illegal drug suspects who died in police operations. 2,053 of this were recorded in the first 6 months, July to December of 2016. Meanwhile, other government agencies and international human rights organizations, such as the CHR and the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, domestic human rights organizations, such as the Free Legal Assistance Group, and Third World Studies, University of the Philippines, Diliman, have their respective data vetted from their own investigations and information gathering devices. With CHR's investigation of the 3,900 cases of drug-related killings, it has observed that killings in relation to the anti-illegal drug campaign have been widespread, spanning across all administrative regions in the country. The UNOHCR reported in the report dated June 2020 that there were at least 8,663 drug-related killings as of February of 2019. Academic research from the HAS project of UP gathered around 5,348 recorded deaths. Attorney Chel Jokno of FLAG cited unassailable data which were stated in a Supreme Court NBank extended resolution that indicated that the Duterte administration's anti-drug war from July 1, 2016 to November 27, 2017 recorded a total of 20,322 deaths, or a daily average of 39.46 deaths. The breakdown, which was called from the government's 2017 year-end report, yielded the following: 3,967 drug personalities who died in anti-drug operations from July 1, 2016 to November 27, 2017, and 16,355 homicide cases under investigation from July 1, 2016 to December 27, 2017. These findings of the statistical data of human rights violations leading to extrajudicial killings have been established by the committee. And although the real numbers may be varied depending on the source, what is palpable at this point is the fact that the number of killings had been highly significant to be ignored by the present government. On the first issue, it was confirmed that the police anti-illegal drug operations have resulted to multiple deaths. Number one, relatives of victims from Cebu City and Caloocan City have testified that there were PNP anti-illegal drugs simultaneous anti-criminality and law enforcement operations, or generally known as one-time, big-time operation, which resulted in multiple fatalities. It was deemed that most incidents of the said OTBT operations lacked probable cause, since the police officers did not issue warrants of arrest. Number two, there were rampant drug-related killings by unidentified perpetrators. The relatives of the victims who claimed that the assailants were unidentified as they were in civilian clothes and wore masks and bonnets. Some of the attacks were brazen, such as when assailants had intruded victims' houses and forcefully taking them or mercilessly shooting them dead, even in front of witnesses. There were those killed by unidentified men in motorcycles, or generally known as riding in tandem. There were also incidents that victims were found dead away from their houses with gunshot wounds, hands tied, or bodies wrapped in blankets. There was commonality of the targets with victims being the drug list or perceived drug addicts, killings were systematic, and that there was a conducive environment where perpetrators were given a sense of immunity. Number 3, there were varied and suspicious drug lists being referred to by authorities. As regard the drug list, various lists, such as the former president's drug list, were referred to by the authorities, and the process of producing the said drug list and delisting certain individuals from the list were not systematic and formalized, indicating a violation on the constitutional rights to information and due process. In the study conducted by UP Third World Studies, out of the 5,348 deaths, 51% of, or 2,709 victims of killings were accused of being drug pushers, and 34% or 1,831 belong to the drug watch list of the Duterte administration. Number 4, Oplan Tokhang, a policy of the PNP under its command, circular number 16, signed in 2016, was improperly implemented. The surrenders were not voluntary, since during the random knocking of the doors or the house-to-house visits, the police would require residents to provide information and undergo drug tests. The information provided to the police through this manner was not properly validated according to regulations. The voluntary surrender was considered an extrajudicial confession when there should be a signed confession in the presence of a counsel and a trusted witness for it to become admissible in court. If the person waives a legal counsel, there should also be a signed document expressing this concern. This process was violated. The drug testing that was implemented is considered a violation of the right against self-incrimination, and also a violation of the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Law, wherein drug testing should be certified by the Department of Health. Moving on to the next major issue, on whether the state's obligations to respect, protect, and fulfill human rights have been fully adhered to during the course of the anti-illegal drugs campaign. The following state testimonies came about. Number 1, human rights advocates, former Senator Laila De Lima, and UPL lawyers, Attorney Nery Colmenares and Attorney Maria Cristina Conti, have identified and pointed to former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte as the mastermind, instigator, perpetrator, and the person most accountable for the human rights violations. Senator De Lima said that the drug war was implemented as an official program of the Duterte administration when he assumed office as president. He claimed that the consequent EJ case were deliberately carried out as part and parcel of the PNP Oplan double barrel upon Duterte's orders as president and chief executive from 2016 to 2022. In the academic research of UP Professor Sol Dorotea Iglesias, published in a 2023 journal Asian Politics Policy, it was shown that drug crime-related killings in the Philippines are statistically correlated with former President Duterte's term of office. Number 2, the CHR, based on its investigative report, rationalized that the government has failed in its obligation to respect and protect the human rights of every citizen, in particular victims of drug-related killings, and that it has encouraged a culture of impunity that shielded perpetrators from being held to account. It can be deduced from the testimonies and reports that there is a lack of interest from the PNP to investigate on drug-related killings. Some of the victims' families were denied by police officers when they tried to report the incident or request for police reports, and some incidents were not investigated at all, while some cases also had no follow-up investigations by the police. The CHR and legal counsels of victims had also difficulties in gathering evidence from the PNP, with reference policy as an excuse to refuse access to police documents. Number 3, the PNP non-filing of cases against police officers involved in incidents of death died in police operations was alarming. Of the 6,486 reported incidents of depot, Brigadier General Matthew Bakay, Director of the PNP DIDM, disclosed that PNP had not filed any criminal charges against its own personnel. There had only been 52 drug-related non-laban cases which are being investigated by NBI, and these were referred to them by the DOJ. Number 4, the reward and quota system in the PNP during the war on drugs have surfaced. Police Major Emil Garcia, former Police Community Precinct 4 Commander in Batasan, is stated on record that Police Colonel Lito Patay, former commander of Batasan Station 6, required PCP commanders of Barangay Batasan to conduct tokhang operations in at least 50 households per day. Pulitzer Prize awardee Mr. Manuel Mugato reported in his Reuters investigative series that his source admitted that the reward system and quota system existed, which have been the motivation of the police officers at that time to engage in extrajudicial killings. If the police would not execute the killings, other civilians would be hired to do the dirty job. Number 5, there exists a pattern of evidence establishing the state-sponsored killings, public vilification of the government against the victims who were allegedly involved in drugs, brazenness of execution of the victims in public places, and complete lack of interest of government to investigate or prosecute on drug-related cases. Finally, the third issue on whether domestic and international human rights laws, instruments, and governmental policies have been adequate and responsive to the promotion, protection, and fulfillment of human rights obligations has also been addressed in the inquiry. The committee ratiocinates that there are available and adequate laws for the promotion, protection, and fulfillment of human rights obligations in the country. However, there have been problems and failures in the execution of the laws, which resulted to unsolved criminal cases involving members of the PNP, which were manifested in some of the statements of the resource persons who testified in the hearings. Number 1, interpretation of the term negation and neutralization in CMC 16-2016. The procedure for those who have not voluntarily surrendered was espoused in CMC 16-2016, Section 4, and I quote, "Any person subjected to be involved in illegal drug trafficking who denies or refuses the house-to-house visitation shall be referred to the anti-illegal drug units for immediate case build-up and negation." End of quote.